outside, we could hear the whooshing of their breaths and see them. And still the water's so muddy there that you never got that much glimpse of them. So they just always seemed, they were just always mysterious, and always kind of straining to see more and figure out what they were doing, wonder where they were going, and just wonder about their lives. It was very gradual. I mean, we used to see literally hundreds when people began to notice that there was a population decline. National Fisheries started doing more research. They were doing at least some surveys, aerial surveys of them, and some of the mysteries began to be cleared up. But still, right now, there are still so many things that are unknown.
They're a very strong part and iconic species of the Cook Inlet communities. There's a traditional harvest of them over the years that has been stopped now as they're endangered, but there's also a community effort and a very strong interest of people just seeing whales. And being able to drive along the highway and pull over and see whales is pretty spectacular. The Cook Inlet beluga population, when NIMS started surveys in 1994, we counted an abundance of about 653 animals, and they rapidly declined, and we did list them in 2008 based on the fact that they hadn't recovered over that long period of time. Is it the noise? Is it the water contaminants? Is it the impacts to development of habitat, or the prey, or the competition with fish, or the oil and gas? And we're not sure what it is. And is it all of them combined? And of course, that's going to be harder to measure.
There's a number of traditional threats. We've got oil and gas development in Cook Inlet. Cook Inlet was the place where oil and gas started here, and it quickly moved offshore, and a lot of those operations predated our major federal environmental statutes. So I describe Cook Inlet kind of as a regulatory backwater. We haven't caught up to modern environmental controls. So the oil industry in Cook Inlet operates under a loophole under the Clean Water Act, where they're legally allowed to discharge literally billions of gallons of toxic waste into prime beluga whale habitat every year. Things like sewage discharges. The municipality of Anchorage is the largest population base in the state, so you've got probably 350,000 people in the sewage from them going into Cook Inlet every day. And those are the things that flush through a treatment plant, like pharmaceuticals and caffeine and things that we can't even regulate. And so upwards of 30 million gallons is going into their prime critical habitat every day.
Right on the edge there is where you would see belugas. So they stay on the edge and go down this way. Some of the threats that belugas are facing in south central Alaska are, we have a sewage treatment plant that's only primary treatment. We have the major port for the state of Alaska. Almost 90% of the goods that come into the state at the port of Anchorage. And so everything, the potential pollution from the sewage treatment plant, and you have ship traffic and the docks, that could be one factor that's affecting and encouraging a decline in beluga populations.
One of the biggest things that we're worried about is noise impacts from shipping and from oil development in the inlet. Every year, the oil and gas industry harass beluga whales by sound. They're marine mammals. Their hearing is really important to them, being able to communicate with one another, and there's just a ton of noise in the inlet from all these different industries. Any way that humans could impact the inlet, we're putting our pollution in there, we're putting our noise in there, we're putting our pollution into the air, we're taking the fish out of the inlet. So there are a lot of ways that we're encroaching on their environment, and it's making it hard for the belugas to recover.
97% of the salmon goes to the commercial fishermen, and 1% or whatever goes to the rest of us. But I don't see any of you saying how many fish do a beluga whale need? How many fish do bears need? How many fish do wolves need? I don't see any of you saying any of that. But I hear you cut one open one time and there was 19 fish in one beluga whale. That was just that one day. As a species, the human race is stupid as a stump. As a global body, we don't watch and say, well, look what they done over there. Well, look what they done. Oh, that won't happen to you. Well, how come it happened over there and you don't expect to happen over here? Aren't you human?
Well, they're called the canaries of the sea because they're rich songs. and their echolocation abilities. They're pretty incredible. I mean, Cook Inlet's full of glacial flowers. It's very murky, a lot of sediment, and so they are able to find food and communicate through echolocation and these songs. So the canary of the sea is also relevant in another way because they're almost like a canary in the coal mine in that they're an indicator species, and they tell us about the health of our ecosystem. So with their gradual decline, it raises concerns about the overall health of our water body.
If we have a healthy inlet out there with strong runs of fish and clean water that's able to sustain something like a whale, that's something that we should be really proud of and work at maintaining.
It's kind of like we've lost something in the whole process because belugas are iconic. They're important to who we are as Alaskans and also this community anchorage.
There have been times when I've seen them really close up and you can hear them and you can see their white backs. It gives you this feeling of connection to what's wild, and having that connection to something wild so close to home is really a special thing.
They're in a unique environment. They've adapted and evolved to be a unique animal, and I think they probably have things to teach us about adaptation and survival in a place like Cook Inlet.